Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Let me see if I can spread this and share this out. Let's see. Copy. Let's see if I can share it out. I think I might end up losing the live stream, so I will, let's see here. Chat filter, community moderation, live chat, anyone. Okay, let me change this to, let me see. Community moderation. Participants to the specific people you approve. Add approved users on desktop. Okay, I'll leave it here. Well, good evening, everyone. Happy Tuesday. It's Transformation Tuesday. I hope that you are having a wonderful, wonderful day. I hope that you had a wonderful day. Since it's, the start of a new season, springtime, which is one of my favorite times of the year, I thought that I would start doing live streams. To me, springtime is sort of like the start of a new year. And most of us kind of look at January as the start of the new year. But January is winter time. And really, when you think about it, the winter time, things of old die away. And so when things start to die away, springtime is that time of year when everything is refreshed. Everything is renewed. We have blossoming. Hi, Ezekiel. Hi, Tuxter. We have the springtime, which is a fabulous time of the year. We start seeing a lot of flowers start to blossom. We start seeing all of the newness and the freshness of the season. And it really is an exciting time of the year. And so I wanted to, yes, it is very, very rejuvenating, Colton. Thank you so much. So to me, it is one of the best times of the year, to be perfectly honest. So I thought that with this topic that I decided to use tonight is replenish. So for those of you who I have never met before, I want to introduce myself. My name is Felita. I am a life coach. Some of you may know me from Avon, and some of you may know me from, just passing by tonight. So I appreciate all of you who are passing by and dropping in tonight. And if you have anything to share, I would love to hear from you, and I sincerely appreciate it. So on tonight, again, our topic is going to be replenish. So when you look at the word replenish basically, when you see the word it basically means that something is obsolete or something has kind of died off or something needs to be rejuvenated or regenerated all over again. So when you look at it, it can be defined as to make full or complete again, as by supplying what is lacking. So basically something is lacking or something is used up, and you want to refill it again. You want to rejuvenate it and refill it again. Something physically and something materially filled, and basically to return something or someone to its original condition. And that's how you can basically look at replenish. So, when you look at your life, sometimes we have a tendency to give to others. I know as a mother, sometimes you give and you give and you give a lot to others. And sometimes you don't always get it reciprocated. You don't always get that energy reciprocated back to you. So now that it is a new season, it is a time to evaluate your life and take a look at who's in your life and who are those people in your life who you have a tendency to constantly give to, but yet and still you don't get anything back in return. You don't get any of your energy, or the energy is not balanced, in other words. So you want to start evaluating your life and look at, those things. It may be a job, it could be a relationship, it could be whatever it might be. It could be your health, where you may be having some health challenges, you may not like your job, or it could be some friends or whatever. If you find yourself constantly giving and giving and giving, and you never receive, then it's time for you to replenish. It's time for you to replenish those things and those people in your life. Okay. So when you also look at replenish, you sometimes when you don't replenish, you find yourself worn out. You find yourself totally worn out. You find yourself sometimes feeling alone. Sometimes you feel like, you're just kind of out there on your own because you've depleted all of your energy. So I'm going to talk about and share some of the things that you can do to refill and replenish your life. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments, and you can share with me some things that you have to share as well. So I thank you so much. You feel deprived? Okay. I can definitely understand that. Sometimes I do feel deprived as well. So we're going to talk about some things and how we can kind of replenish that. Okay. So here are some things that you can do to fill up again. Number one, connect with yourself. Connect with yourself, connect with God or your higher power, whatever you call God, or your higher power. Connect with, to me, that's a spiritual connection. And I know for me personally, when I am not connected to my higher power, I feel totally disconnected. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate you chiming in. So I know for me, whenever I do not put my spiritual life first, I totally feel depleted. It's like sometimes when you find yourself going out in the world and you have not put on your whole armor, you find yourself totally depleted, and you'll feel deprived because sometimes the world can take the best from you and you'll end up totally depleted. Okay. All right. So the next thing that you can do is prioritize in your life what matters. And the things that matter to you the most, it's important for you to put that first and prioritize your life. Sometimes if we have a tendency, thank you so much for sharing, Colton. I appreciate that. Sometimes we have a tendency to not prioritize things in our lives. And a lot of times we end up being depleted because we didn't put ourselves before. So let me block this person here because it just seems like he just wants to continue on. Okay. All right. I blocked him. Thank you so much. So when we prioritize things that matter in our lives, we'll find that we feel replenished. We feel rejuvenated. So what are some of the things that you find is most important to you in your life when it comes to prioritizing things in your life? For me, it's my spiritual life, which is first. And then the second thing I would say would be my health. And there are plenty other things that we can also prioritize. Some people prioritize relationships. I don't put anybody before me. I just feel like I am the most important person. And if I don't put myself first, then other people will have a tendency to end up taking advantage of you or using you. So it's very important that you make sure you prioritize yourself and make sure that you put yourself first because you matter. You definitely matter. Now, the third thing that we can do to make sure that we are filling up and we are replenishing ourselves would be develop healthy practices. One of the healthy practices that I do every day is meditate. I have found that a lot of times, um, okay, this person. Yes, I agree, Colton. Healthy relationship with God and family. That is so, so, so important to me. Um, I do think that that is priority as well. Healthy relationship with God and family. I agree. Very, very important. Thank you so much for sharing that. And another healthy practice I would say for myself is to take time out for just self care. Sometimes we have a tendency, again, to focus on so many other people that we don't take the time to, focus on our own personal self care. And that self care may be to just take a break from social media. It could be just take a break from your phone completely, because sometimes we get just overwhelmed with people constantly calling us, people constantly texting us. I know for me, I have to take a break from social media from time to time, because social media, sometimes reading the negative comments can definitely get next to you. Sometimes I have learned to totally detach myself from negativity. Just like the other person who was just in here making all of the negative comments, I've learned to just totally detach. I've learned not to respond. And I do encourage you that when you're online, don't respond to negative people, because, they can definitely try to take your power. I call them energy vampires, and that's exactly what they are. Self-evaluation. Yes, that's good, Colton. Very good. Definitely self-evaluation is definitely high on the list, for real, for real. Thank you so much for sharing. Now, number four, the fourth thing we can do to help us to fill up again would be address the problems that lead to burnout. Sometimes, and that leads to what you're saying, Carlton, self-evaluation. Sometimes it's good for you to sit down maybe at the end of the week and just kind of evaluate where you are, what happened during that week, and just kind of analyze what actually took place in your life. Sometimes if you don't take that time for self-evaluation, a lot of times things will just continue to go on and on and on, and you can't seem to pinpoint what the problem is and why it continues to happen. So self-evaluation is definitely important. So take the time to address those problems in your life that's leading to burnout. Now, the fifth thing we can do to help us fill up again and to replenish again is to join a support group or class that focuses on self-care. Now, it could be, you may have like an online group, that you participate with. It could be your family. Your family could have some type of meeting. You may have family meetings or whatever who could support you on your journey to self-improvement. I always say that sometimes we disconnect ourselves from family, but sometimes it's important for you to go back and communicate with family and connect with family again, so that you can stay connected and stay involved with your family to make sure that you are adding balance to your life. Okay. All right, so I want to share a few other things here, some practical ways that we can replenish ourselves. And the first one would be physical replenishment. So, are you getting adequate rest? I know it's very, very important. It's really recommended to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep every single night. I know for me, I've always been a night owl, and unfortunately, I have a tendency to go to bed a little bit later and in the evenings, which I should. I've got to kind of revamp that and start going to bed a little bit earlier, so I can make sure that I'm getting in my sleep. So that is a question for you. Are you getting adequate rest? Are you prioritizing your sleep even when you may need short naps? It may be possible to take advantage of as well. Another thing for your physical replenishment would be staying hydrated and eating nourishing foods and meals. You'll notice that whenever you start to eat a lot of foods that are a lot of carbs or a lot of foods that just does not benefit you or nourish your body or benefit your highest good, you'll find that they can be very, very draining, especially if you eat a lot of foods that contain sugar, a lot of foods that contain, like junk foods. Those things those foods have a tendency um, to pull on your energy level. So it's really, really important to make sure that you are replenishing and you are staying hydrated and eating nourishing meals, okay, to fuel your body. Another part of replenishing yourself would be moving your body, gentle exercise like walking, stretching, yoga, or dancing. I personally love getting out in nature, walking during this time of year. So it's very, very important for me to make sure that I get up and every single morning and make sure that I do some form of exercise, some form of moving your body, like again, for me, stretching in the morning. I love to walk when it's really, really nice outside. So that's very important for your physical replenishment as well. And then the next tip is for your physical replenishment would be schedule your regular health checkups. Sometimes we go, Colton, oh, good. You just walked a mile by the river. Good job. Good job. Glad to hear that. Yes, yes. I bet it was beautiful. I bet it was beautiful. We have a park here where I walk there, and it has a lake. And I love to walk there on Saturday mornings, and it is just so beautiful and so refreshing. That being in nature just totally replenishes me. Sometimes I can have the roughest week, and then when I get out on my nature walk and I'm walking by the water and the lake, it just totally replenishes me. So nature is definitely one of my favorite ways to replenish myself. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you so much for sharing that, Colton. So another tip is to make sure that you are scheduling regular health checkups. Sometimes we don't always get our annual physicals. It's very important to make sure that you get in on your annual physicals, to make sure that your blood work is done. You've seen your doctor for the year, to make sure, because a lot of times our health conditions generally come like they're there, but we don't know because we don't always take the time to schedule our doctor's appointments to get our blood work done and all of those good things to make sure that we are in good physical health. So I want to encourage you that if you have not scheduled your annual physicals, make sure that you do that as well. Okay. All right. So we're going to move on to the emotional replenishment. So when it comes to your emotional replenishment, you want to make sure you talk it out. Have someone that you can talk it out with, and have a friend that you can confide in, or some type of support group, or a therapist can cause stress and other issues. Yes, it can. Yes, it can, Colton. It really can. Definitely. As a matter of fact, I want to share a quick story with you. Back in 2019, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I reconnected with a friend of mine who I had been out of contact with for about 20 years. She found out that I had breast cancer, and we reconnected again. And it turns out that when we reconnected, she was diagnosed the very next month after we reconnected after 20 years. And she told me her story was that she had gone in to have a mammogram. However, when she got to her appointment, she was 15 minutes late. And because she was 15 minutes late, she had to reschedule her appointment because they would not take her in because she was late. They had other people that was waiting. So because she was 15 minutes late, she had to reschedule, but unfortunately she got busy with life. She never called back in to schedule her appointment. She went back in 5 years later. This was at the time when she and I reconnected again, that was when she was diagnosed. So 5 years later, she decided to schedule an appointment to go in to get her mammogram, and it was discovered that she also had breast cancer. But unfortunately, she was at stage 4, and she passed away within 6 months. So I really want to encourage you all that, if you have not scheduled your annual physicals, make sure you get that done, because a lot of times, a lot of things can be prevented. And I often think about if my friend had gone in and if she had rescheduled her appointment, she probably would be here today. So I want to encourage you all to make sure that you are scheduling your annual wellness visits. Okay. So another thing under the emotional replenishment would be setting healthy boundaries. Learn how to say no. Okay. Sometimes we feel like we have to say yes to everything, but saying yes to everything is not the way to go. So it's important to say no so that you can avoid overload. Really, really important. Okay. So that's part of your emotional replenishment. Another tip under the emotional replenishment would be express gratitude. Keep a gratitude journal to reflect on your positive moments. Since I started journaling, I can honestly say that journaling has just really, really changed my life. A lot of times, if you don't have someone physical to talk to, you can record your thoughts on paper just by journaling, and it really makes a big, big difference. I study also the Stoic philosophy, and I think his name is Ryan Holiday. I follow him here on YouTube, and one of the Stoic principles is that paper is more patient than people. And that is so true, because sometimes people may not have the patience to talk to you, but you can write in your journal as much as you want to, as often as you want to. So I want to encourage you to, continue and start expressing gratitude. Sometimes you may not have a lot, but be thankful and grateful for what you do have. It makes all the difference in the world. And start a gratitude journal as well. And then another part of the emotional replenishment would be allow yourself to feel. Acknowledge your emotions without judgment, and it can release a lot of emotional tension. Sometimes I find you'll find that a lot of times if you don't release a lot of that energy, that emotional energy, it becomes stagnant in the body. And that a lot of times can lead to other yes, yes, it is, Colton. And you'll find that when you don't release those emotions, you'll find that it becomes very stagnant in the body. And I always say, if you don't have anything to release that energy, pent up energy, take a pillow and punch it out. Take a pillow and punch it out. That's what I always say. Release that pent up emotions, because a lot of times it becomes stagnant in the body, and we don't want to do that, because when energy becomes stagnant in the body, it ends up leading to other illnesses and diseases as well. So make sure you are allowing yourself to feel. It's okay to feel angry. It's okay to feel frustrated, as long as you don't stay there. Just find a way to release it and express it. Okay. Yes, it is, Colton. It's a great way to release your emotions. All right. So another tip on a mental replenishment part is to take mental breaks. It's very important to take those mental breaks. Even 5 minutes of just stepping away, it can reset your mind. I know for me, sometimes if I have a problem, if I'm stuck in the middle of a problem, if I step away for just 5 minutes and I come back, I find that the solution is there. I'm able to resolve what I was going through. So it's good to take sometimes to just step away and take a 5-minute break. It can reset your mind. Very, very powerful. Okay. Now, another part of the mental replenishment would be to read or to listen to uplifting content, such as books and podcasts and music and audiobooks. I absolutely love music therapy. That's one of my favorite ways to replenish myself. Sometimes you can put on your music and you can not be in the best of moods, but that music can shift you energetically and change your frequency and change your mood. So sometimes you have to just put on that good mood, that good music. I wake up in the morning to good music so that I can get moving in the morning, and it really, really shifts my mood when I don't want to wake up. But once I hear that music, it gets me going. So music is another way for that mental replenishment. Okay. Another tip would be pursue hobbies such as, whatever crafts, it could be gardening, whatever creative outlets that you enjoy doing to help you switch off from the mind, because sometimes our minds can just run away with us. So a good way is to find a craft, a puzzle, or gardening, or whatever creative outlet that you enjoy doing. Just switch it off and just get into your creativity and use your creative gifts and talents to switch things off and get back in balance again. Okay. Another part of mental replenishment would be practicing mindfulness or meditation, like calming techniques, to manage your stress and gain mental clarity. I know for me, mindfulness is key. I do get up daily and I meditate on a daily basis. It's so important to help you really calm yourself and really bring yourself back in balance again. Very good way to bring yourself back into alignment. And number 4, your spiritual replenishment would be to engage in your faith or your spiritual practices, such as your prayer, your meditation, or attending a spiritual community. I personally don't go to church, but I do have very, very faithful spiritual practices that I do on a daily basis. And I do know that whenever I get off of those practices, it just seems like things just start going left. So I want to encourage you to engage in some form of spiritual practice, whatever that may be for you. Okay. Another tip for your spiritual replenishment would be spend time in nature. We just talked about that. Ground yourself. Go outdoors. It can be so, so very soothing. We went to the Tulip Festival this past Sunday, me and my family, and it was so beautiful just seeing all of the beauty of nature, seeing all of the beautiful flowers, the tulips, and seeing the Christmas trees even growing right now. It's such a beautiful time of the year to really get out in nature and really enjoy spending time in nature. And another way that I ground myself in nature is when I go outside, I just sit in the grass and I take my shoes off and just put my feet in the grass. Sometimes we have to just release a lot of the electromagnetic frequencies. We store it in our bodies, and being able to go into nature and ground ourselves and put our feet in the grass helps us be able to release a lot of those lower electromagnetic frequencies. So I want to encourage you that when you're outside, in your nature, take your shoes off, plant your feet, ground yourself. You'll be surprised how much better you'll feel once you come back in. All right. Okay. Now moving on to number 5, social replenishment. Lean on your circle. Hopefully you have a circle of friends and family that you can ask for help and, ask for support if you need support. Sometimes sometimes I think we hold in our minds that we can handle a lot of things on our own when we really need someone to just talk it out to. And again, it could be a friend. I encourage you to find a support group of like minds so that you can have someone that you can bounce ideas off to, someone you can trust. You don't want to just share with anybody or everybody. You want to make sure it's someone that you can trust, so that you can share things that you may be going through, because it really helps to be able to have someone to talk to. Okay. Another part that I'd like to share with you as far as social replenishment would be, let's see here, plan your social time. Spend time with people who uplift you, even virtually. Sometimes we have certain people that we follow on YouTube, online, or TikTok or whatever. Every time you log on, that person is going to say something that's going to uplift you. And Go back. I want to encourage you to take a look and evaluate your followers. And if you find that you're following someone who's constantly putting out a lot of negativity, unfollow that person, because you don't want to, every time you log on, you don't always want to see something negative all the time. You want to follow people who's going to encourage you, people who's going to put more positivity. We have a lot of negativity going on in the world today anyway. So we don't want to connect and be associated with those negative people. We want as much positivity around us as much as we possibly can. We want to keep our vibes high. Okay. We want to make sure that those vibrations are kept high at all times. Okay. All right. So, and finally, here are simple, everyday micro replenishment tips for you. Number one, take 5 deep breaths when you feel overloaded and overwhelmed. Just take 5 deep breaths whenever you feel overwhelmed. Sometimes life gets the best of us. You'll be surprised just by taking 5 deep breaths, how it really helps to calm you down and help you rebalance and get refocused again. 5 deep breaths whenever you feel overwhelmed. Okay. Number 2, enjoy your favorite drink or treat mindfully. And when I say mindfully, enjoy it. When you pick up your glass to drink, enjoy it without having your mind, shifted in other areas. Or if you have a favorite treat, if you're eating some ice cream, don't worry about the extra calories. Don't worry about the fat. Don't worry about all of that, because the more you keep the negativity on mind, the more it's going to spill over and you'll end up gaining those pounds. But when you tell yourself and you're enjoying your treat mindfully, you enjoy it, you'll be surprised that the pounds won't even add on. So enjoy your treat or enjoy your drink mindfully. Okay. Another tip, light a candle or listen to calming sounds for a mini reset. That's part of what I do day is I make sure that I light a candle. That's how I start my day, by lighting my candle, and then I go into my prayer always. And the fire, it's a metaphor for the spirit realm. So part of my spiritual practices is I light a candle every morning before I go into my prayer and my meditation time. It's something about the fire and lighting the candle just totally shifts the energy and the vibration in the room, and helps you to really focus and really meditate on a deeper level. It's something about that fire that I have just really adapted to, and I can tell a difference when I don't light a candle during my spiritual practices. So that's another way, that a simple micro replenishment that you can do as well. And then finally, practice your gratitude. Always give thanks. Again, give thanks no matter what you're going through. I was talking to a friend of mine today. She was sharing with me a lot of things that was going on in her life, and a lot of things that was happening that was causing a lot of setbacks for her. And I shared with her, I remember hearing a pastor share this. He taught a message that says that your setback is a setup for your comeback. And I always keep that in mind whenever I am going through trials and tribulations, and whenever I'm having any type of challenges in my life. I have to tell myself that this setback is a setup for my comeback. So no matter what you're going through, keep that in mind and just know that everything is working for your highest good. It may not seem like it right now, but trust and believe that all things are working for your highest good. Okay. All right. So share with me in the comments, what will you do today to implement in your life to continue to replenish yourself? What will you do today to implement in your life to continue to replenish yourself? I'd love to hear from you. Share with me in the comments your thoughts and some things that you might have, some pointers you might have, or takeaways that you might have picked up from today's message. Share with me some tips that you plan on implementing in your life And even if you don't do it right now, you can come back and you can comment on it at a later time. Or if you're watching this video at a later time, share with me in the comment what you plan to do today to implement in your life to continue to replenish yourself. Okay. All right. So with that being said, I want to thank you all so much for joining me tonight. This is my first official Let's Talk. I'm going to be doing these every week. I hope that you will chime in with me every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have different topics that we will be discussing to help you transform your life. Okay. All right. So this has been Felita Danieli with Elevate Your Life Coaching. Thanks again for watching. Please remember to give me a like. And if you feel inspired to do so, please be sure to subscribe as well. Okay. All right. So until the next time, y'all take care, take charge. I'll see you on the next live. See you next week. Bye for now.